Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Legacy Leaders. Today, Scott McMeans, yours truly, is joined by Jim Lange with the Kingdom Factor. As a business owner, as a man that runs a bunch of different programs to help people be better business people, I'm curious, Jim, how do you introduce yourself and what would you like to talk about today?
Well, I introduced myself that I'm Jim Lang with Kingdom Factor, and I love talking about leadership and entrepreneurship and all of that stuff. So we can kind of go wherever you want to go,
I
Scott.
love it. No, leadership, entrepreneurship, it's not an easy pathway, right? It's it's something you have to have the moxie for. It's something you have to have the patience and diligence for. And one thing that you and I talked about before that we both agree on is the discipline to do this the right way. And sometimes it seems like it's harder than it needs to be. And that's where you and I come in. We help people make it so it's not so difficult. But there's this interest that an entrepreneur has to do things alone. And there's an ego and a facade, right, that comes with,
Mhm.
I started my own business, therefore I can do this on my own. And what we'd like to share with the audience is there's a better way of doing it so you're not caught behind an eight ball or you're not caught behind a challenge that you can't get around. It's find somebody that can help you. And when you do things with a right hand man or somebody you can trust and actually have a good, solid conversation with, it makes your life as a business owner that much easier. So when you talk about not being able to do it alone, what do you do when you talk to your clients or other prospects? Like, what's it? How do you bring people into the light so they understand it's not that hard if you have somebody can help you? So walk me through your thought process.
Well, I don't know if that's true that it's not that hard because I think it can be very difficult because some of us are just wired to be independent. And quite frankly, we don't want to answer to anybody else. We want to do it our way and do what we want to do. I mean,
Yeah,
just to be brutally honest, right? I mean, there's things in my life I would just like to just go do what I want to do. And
yeah,
the best thing for me? No, but there's sometimes that my mind's not thinking quite properly. And so in that, not thinking quite properly, we all have every single person has blind spots. And one thing, Scott, that I'm going to
hmm
talk a little bit about, I'm going to weave the Bible into this because I believe everything written in the Bible, and I'm a follower of Jesus. And so
sure.
just to let you know that, and so like even the Bible talks about this stuff. It says we only know in part. So
hmm
no one knows it all. Nobody knows it all. It's impossible to know it all. And if we think we know it all, we're in deep trouble. That's called pride. And we're not able to be open up to what is around us. And so it's kind of like and most entrepreneurs, most leaders that I know have this built-in tendency to say, I'm the answer guy. I like solving things. I like doing
hmm
this. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I don't really need help to do all that sort of stuff. Well, as mentioned, and by the way, I lived my life much that way much of my life. And it did not work out well. I mean, I'm just here to tell you. And it wasn't probably until, the last third of my life that I started like actually seeking out wise counsel, seeking out people to give me input. And I actually love getting input now. I had to exercise that muscle though. But but I
Okay.
mean it's so important. And you had mentioned, teaming up with someone on your team and your partner and all that. And I'd like to propose that that isn't necessarily what you need either. Because your partner, your business partner, or let's say your wife or your husband, they have a dog in the hunt. They have a biased interest in whatever input they're going to be giving you, right? And so because they have a dog in the hunt, are they going to be able to give you unvarnished, unfiltered feedback that you really need to hear?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be biased because they say, "Oh my goodness, I don't want him to do this because it could cost me over here this, or it could
Yeah.
do this?" And so, what I like to share with people is the value of having unbiased feedback around you from people whom you trust and can be safe with. And that's really critical. And what's so important about that, like Colin Powell said it best. He said, "The higher you grow in leadership, the less likely you're going to have people speak truth to you." Well, guess what? As you know, in today's day and age, how important is it to have truth spoken to us? Because it's so easy to be deceived by what's being said here and there. We don't even know what's real anymore with AI and all of that sort of stuff, right?
A good
And
point.
so we need feedback from others to really help us. And quite frankly, you know, we can. Jesus said something interesting. He said that we are to love others as we love ourselves.
Yeah.
Most leaders I know don't do a great job of loving themselves. They don't take care of themselves because they feel like the mission is too big and they have all these people that they got to take care of in their organization. And most leaders are servants. They want to serve. They want to do that. But I believe they take that way out of proportion, and as a result, they don't take care of them because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Is another way to say that.
Yeah.
And but Jesus says, love others as you love ourselves. So in other words, you can only love others to the extent you love yourself. Well, one way to love yourself is getting a team around you who
Mm.
can help guide you in your decisions.
A very good point. One of the things that I talk about a lot with my team when I'm working with a client is I am that dispassionate friend that will tell you what you need to hear, not what you necessarily want to hear.
Mhm.
And what happens is there's a candid reflection. And I call it the light upon yonder window moment. Like, you're right. I never thought of it that way. Or, well, everybody on the team told me this was right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because one, they probably don't want to be fired, or they want to make you feel good, and you're brilliant, so they're going to follow your lead. Sometimes you need to surround yourself with as many yes people as going to make you feel good, but you need to find as many counter no people to make you feel real. And that's where I think a good leader finds the right people to surround himself with. And it's not always yes men, it's a combination of people that'll challenge you to be better. And I learned long ago, one of my manager from way back when, Brian, he taught me if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I got to leave this room,
Yeah.
right? I need people here around me because I know I'm not smart. But what I do know is I hired you and you and you. You are the collective that's going to make me better. And to me, that was one of the earmarks of a phenomenal leader because he taught us to be thinkers and he allowed us to speak because he was confident enough in his own decision making that if he had the right information, he would be able to make a good decision. And it was inherent upon us, right, Jim? If we wanted something, we had to present the information. And I think that's what makes for a really good back and forth between leaders and people they work with is the open trust that I empower you to go do this. And in turn, I'm going to follow the information you give me to lead us in the right direction. So I appreciate that because that's the stuff that makes a big difference, right?
One thing that I'd like to just add to what you shared, and you said you don't always want to be the smartest person in the room, and I agree with that to a point. However, there's been numerous times in which the smartest person in the room got spoken to by somebody else in a profound way that changed their life.
Mm.
And so I think we have to beware of not trying to put ourselves above so that we can't learn from others, because we can learn from anyone. But I agree with you as a general rule. Yes, you want to surround yourselves with people who are going to help you get to where you're going.
Well, and I love that because this is an interesting caveat. I've always defined leader as somebody who takes you in a direction you didn't think was possible because they motivated you to do so. To
Mhm.
me, that's a leader, right?
Mhm.
You can either be in a room full of incredibly smart people and demotivate somebody, as you suggested, by speaking to them in a way they did not understand or really reflect upon kindly, and you've lost them.
Mhm.
Or you can have a group of people that you motivate to follow your vision and follow the direction you want to take them in because of their intelligence, they'll contribute as opposed to fight you. And that's a really good, solid thing for a leader to really grab onto is how you communicate, how you treat people, and bring them into your fold is going to make a huge, significant difference in how they contribute to you, what you want to have done.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. That's a really good commentary.
Yeah. Good stuff.
As you've been doing this Kingdom Factor, what are some of, from your perspective, lessons that you think people need to learn in order to become a better business owner, become a better business leader? What are some of the things that you, over your years, have found these are the lessons I've learned, and I want to teach them to people so they don't have to wait so long to learn them.
Well, first of all, let me share a little bit about what Kingdom Factor is, because that might
Please, yeah, please do.
contextualize this a little bit. So, who we are a group. We've got the leadership team of Kingdom Factor is three leaders who've been in the marketplace ministry arena for a combined total of about 60 years between the three of us, and we each. So I lead. I'm in Toledo, Ohio, and I lead monthly peer group meetings for Christian business and ministry leaders, and so we just had a meeting this morning. We had one on Tuesday. I had one this morning, yesterday morning, and then 3 days ago also this week. And each meeting lasts for 4 hours. And it's just incredible. And you say 4 hour meeting? Are you kidding me? Well, it's the
Yeah.
fastest 4 hours of your entire life because each leader comes into the room carrying their biggest issues, their biggest challenges, their opportunities they're looking to do. And they come in with a heart to seek the wisdom that's in the room. And to see, this is how I'm seeing something. This is what's going on. Can you all tell me what you see, and what you're doing? And I have seen time and time and time and time and time again that people are transformed. Businesses and organizations are transformed, not-for-profits are transformed, and families are transformed through this process because everybody's coming together and no one has a dog in the hunt in the room, just like we talked about earlier. Everyone's got
Mhm.
unbiased feedback toward one another. Everyone loves one another, going to be praying for them, and they're going to be cheering them on. And they want to help that person succeed. And so, and by the way, when you're in a room full of people who don't have a dog in the hunt, what do you think the odds are of truth being spoken?
It's 100%.
Very high.
Yeah, it's very high.
I've actually had pastors come and visit our group. We actually have six pastors who are in groups also because they face leadership challenges just like all the rest of us, right? And I've had many pastors come and visit the group saying, "Man, members of my congregation are in this, and they're speaking about this. I just want to learn about it." So I have them sit in on a group. They sign a confidentiality covenant and all that. And almost after every meeting, almost every one of them says almost the same thing to me. Jim, I've never seen church done like this because we're so afraid to speak truth to one another for fear of offending people. And it's so refreshing to see that played out, like it's we're told to in the Bible to speak the truth in love. And so that it helps people tremendously. And I mean, I've literally, Scott, seen people literally transformed
Yeah.
and in a variety of ways. We have one life that was saved. Had marriages saved. We've had all sorts of things like that have had businesses have been started, businesses have been saved that were going under, and so all because in Scripture it says that victory is assured with many counselors. And I think the
Mm.
reason is because when you surround yourself with a bunch of different people and you're going to have different viewpoints. And so I think the reason that verse is there in the book of Proverbs is because if you're getting a lot of different viewpoints, you're like, oh, I never even thought about it like that before. And so it
Yeah,
just helps you to think about it differently and helps you to make the right decisions.
I agree with that. And I've had a conversation with somebody about the exact same concept, which is if I don't know anything about your business, but I'm hearing you talk about your problem, I'm probably better at solving or helping you solve that problem than if I know anything about the business or industry
Oh,
that you're in, because we're going to surgically remove your issue from the marketplace and put it into how do you manage your business and how do you manage people.
yep.
One of the things that I really liked what you said is when the people come into the room, they come in with a heart that is open to the opportunity in the room. And there's a couple of things I want to, in my mind, makes a lot of sense, and somebody has to be prepared for it. They have to have a heart open enough for candor. I think they have to have the confidence in themselves to hear said candor. And then they need to be empowered through themselves and the confidence they get from that group to go ahead and act on it. So those are three big components to it, right? It's one thing to say, yeah, I'll listen to it. It's another thing to be able to stand there and take the slings and arrows and like, you know what? You're right. I am the one that's doing that. I am responsible for that. I'm accountable for that. I take that on. And now that I have it, all right, I need to be empowered to go do it. So now the group, I would assume, bolsters people up and shows them this is the path and this is what you can do to be successful. Just follow these things. Now you are empowered to follow this and go do it. to me, those are the three biggest steps to what we do to help people through whatever issue they're having, right?
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
open to
I
it.
would say this though, that the group often is not in alignment on what the best thing to do is.
Okay.
Sometimes they are, but there's sometimes that it's just not. Some people have, and by the way, that's a healthy
Mhm.
thing, and that's really good because you're getting, like I said, getting all viewpoints, and
Yeah.
so I think it's really important.
Well, and to your point, if there are different viewpoints, it's up to that person to take that information and
100%.
insight. And
100%.
now, okay, this is the direction I'm going to take it because this is the right thing for me to do. But at least they leave knowing I've exhausted a few different options. I've
Mhm.
looked at it differently than I ever thought before. And I think that's what's the power of having other people help you, right? If you do it by yourself, you don't get a chance to learn a better way of doing it. I mean, very few people have done this on their own. I mean, I don't think Elon Musk would stand in front of an audience of people and say, "Yeah, I did this all on my own." I don't think he would because he doesn't have the capacity to do it because he knows full well there's so many people that helped him along the way.
So, Scott, for those who are interested in Kingdom Factor, I do an exercise. I hold informational briefings maybe 7, 8 times a year, and I'll have those who are coming to learn about it come, and I do an exercise with them in the middle of this briefing, and
Yeah.
I give them a post-it note, and note, and I say, I want you in 20 seconds draw as many triangles as you can. Okay,
Okay.
so they
Yeah.
draw, and probably 50% of the people just draw triangle after triangle. Then some try to do triangles inside triangles and try to do different things to do all this. And on average, when I ask how many did you get done in 20 seconds, it's usually somewhere between like 8 and 25 is how many are done.
Okay, that's a big. Okay.
Okay. And so, and I read this in a magazine article probably 15 years ago. And so I've been doing this I'm in my 18th year right now doing this. And so, and the magazine said the way to do it is like this. And I can't draw right now, but if you draw two horizontal lines and then you just draw a bunch of zigzag lines and you're going to draw triangles upside down and, but all that just by really
Yeah.
quickly. And then I thought, well, what would happen if you drew several lines in between those? So now each triangle is now three triangles if you draw two, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. Yeah.
so I got it up a little bit higher. Well, then one time, and it was probably about 12 years ago, probably about 2012, 13. And we had a woman sitting in the back right of the room. We had a fairly large group for that particular meeting. And she said she had 88 triangles. And I said, 88 triangles? What in the world did you do? And she said she drew 11 stars like this. And if you go do this, if you're listening to this, go draw a star
Yeah.
and count how many triangles in there. Each star has 8 triangles in it. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And now somebody has done it and shown me a way to get 294 triangles. So what I've come to realize is we may think we know the answer, but there's always a better answer out there. And so that's a perfect example of what happens in our groups every single day. This morning we had Actually, yesterday and this morning we had like miraculous stuff happen in the groups.
Good.
And so it was like just incredible. And that stuff happens on a regular basis in personal lives, in families, in business stuff, and you name it. And so it's just and that's the value of getting a room full of people whom you trust and can be safe with in there. By the way, you mentioned something about you have to come into the room being ready to share. Well,
Yeah.
honestly, some of our members, they come in, they don't know what they're getting into. And so
Yeah.
they're not ready to share. And I get that because of their past wounds and all that. They don't want to trust real easily. But once they get in there and they experience it, they're like, oh, this totally is trust. I can be trusted. So you can only really go into an environment that you trust, in my opinion, and be
No,
willing
I
to share
I
your
agree
heart.
with that, and
So,
that definitely frames the conversation for anybody looking to find help. Is you need to have a strong sense of trust in yourself and whomever you're going to work with to work
yeah.
cohesively or work together. I have I've been taught a number of different ways. I have seen continuous learning and presented in so many different ways. The triangle exercise is probably one of the most impactful yet short versions of what you just described, which is there's always a better way. Don't think you know the answer. Let's find the answer together. And I think that's what makes it makes it so powerful. It's 288 triangles in 20 seconds.
I think it's 294 is what it is. Yeah.
That's insane. Okay.
Yeah, I actually have a picture of it. So, but yeah, it is
I just
insane.
love the idea of it. I love the idea of it. So great lessons. We're talking about that. Is there one thing in your experience that stands out as this is the reason why I do what I do?
Well, the one thing it's actually pretty easy in this transformation is I feel that I've been put on the planet to help people transform in my individual coaching. So I do individual coaching. I was in a very difficult marriage a while back, and it was a very abusive marriage. And I'm this guy. I'm a former basketball player. I'm 6 feet 8, and you can't tell that here, but I'm fairly tall, and like the concept of me being abused in a marriage by this woman who's just, very short is like
Yeah.
ridiculous. But it was going on, and it took me a long time to get there. We were married for 30 years. Went through a dozen years of counseling and all that, but I learned a bunch through that process. And one of the books that I wrote is called The Happy Wife, Happy Life Deception. And as a
Mhm.
result of that, I also, how to stop walking on eggshells and be the man you're made to be. And I don't mean to be a jerk. I don't mean to be
Sure.
like overbearing know-it-all. I'm trying to influence men to actually learn to be the man that God made them to be, which means being very tender and loving toward your wife, but doing it in a way where you're not sacrificing your soul to do that.
Sure.
And so I coach men through that, and that it's again that's just about transformation. And I absolutely love doing that, and I loved God's gifted me to work with leaders, and I love leaders. I just love leadership. I love it all, and so that's the reason that I do what I do is to help others to be all that God made them to be.
Fantastic. I appreciate that. The transformation is one of the most rewarding parts of what we do, being a coach, being a mentor to somebody else. Again, I go back to that Romeo and Juliet, light upon yonder window, moment break. It's like, really? Yeah, that you got it. You it finally clicked and then you're right here. Now let's just do the next thing. So I appreciate that a lot more than you realize, because to me it's a very powerful piece to have somebody go through the process of transformation and finally realize it just took one more step. I had to do just one more little thing and I got to where I needed to be. And then turn around and look back and realize, oh, look at the journey I took. And it was just that one step that made all the difference. No, it was every step along the way that got you to that point where so you could make the decision to make one more step and bang, everything happens
Yeah, yeah.
to fulfill what you're looking for. This is great. I love this conversation. Before we go, I want to ask you one thing. If I could put you in a time machine, all 5 foot 20 inches of you in a time machine, and send you back to meet an 18-year-old Jim, what do you think that conversation would sound like?
Wow, it would be, you know what? You need to stop worrying about what others think about you.
Hmm.
You need to understand that you were made on purpose for a purpose. You are worthy to be loved. You are worthy to be heard, and you need to value yourself.
Love it. Now, before we get too philosophical, those are amazing words that I know that you use in your coaching and you use with your clientele. I want people to realize you are worthy of being loved, you are worthy of being heard, and you are worthy of yourself and the value you bring to others. So take that in, soak it in as much as you can because those are powerful words, Jim. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll see everybody on the next episode of Legacy Leaders.
Can I add one thing?
Please, please
So
do.
just one thing, talking about Kingdom Factor, we have a member who drives every month to her meeting. She was in the meeting yesterday from Cleveland. So 2 hours every month,
Oh wow,
7:30, 11:30 a.m. meeting. She never misses. And she's been a member for 12 years. And so you need to value yourself as a leader like that to be able to say, I'm going to do the hard things for my benefit
yeah,
because as a leader goes, so goes the organization. And if anyone has any interest, we have groups in Toledo, but we have groups around the country. And if you want information about Kingdom Factor, or even if you'd be interested in becoming a coach for Kingdom Factor, like what I do here, go to kingdomfactor.us and you can just kind of follow the prompts there and check that out.
Perfect. All the information to get in touch with Jim and the website will all be in the description down below. So people will be able to get in touch with you. So that's a good connection. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Oh, my
And
pleasure.
yeah, we'll see you all in the next episode.
All right.